Hey guys, I'm so sorry. Um, it's been about 2 weeks since my last episode. I have an explanation. So things got a little out of hand. Um, Basically, just to get straight into it. So I was wanting to obviously film my part two of where I left off with, mothering a grown man. Except that week fell under Christmas, and I thought I would have had the time, but that was such a crazy busy week for me, like with work, with family, all of it. So, even though I had planned on filming, I literally could not get to it because of everything that was going on. Um, and I had even recorded like a really fast like audio recording to post, like explaining that, but I never ended up posting it because more shit happened after that. So I do apologize, but that explained that week, and then the week after I was like, oh, you know what? I'll just like make up for it in that last week's episode. Except last week, I had a really bad dental emergency. um I was having very severe tooth pain. Um and ironically, you call the dentist and they always like in their voicemail, because mind you, every single dentist was closed for the holidays, of course. So, a horrible time to have a dental emergency. Um and when you call and you're listening to the voicemails, they always list emergency dentists and to call them if you're having a dental emergency, except when you're having a dental emergency, they're nowhere to be found. I feel like that is that's so misleading, and I hate that. Like, I've had dental emergencies in the past, but I've never like contacted an I know that was a thing because they always say it in their voicemails, like if you're having a dental emergency, call this number, blah blah blah. Um, so this was like kind of the first time I've had to do that, except no one was picking up, of course. And I mean, part of that is because of the holidays, but emergency is an emergency. I feel like that's kind of a little misleading, but it is what it is. I tried to get in contact with one and had no. Well, I did actually get on the phone with my original dentist. And he prescribed me an antibiotic, but he couldn't see me because he was out of town. And pretty much the reasoning why there were no emergency dentists because they were all out of town for the holidays, which I mean, okay, but like anyway, so I suffered 3 days of intense excruciating tooth pain. I literally couldn't do anything for it. I went to the ER like twice actually. Which is so stupid, I know, because what are they gonna do? They're not dentists. They don't. Yeah, I was aware of that, but also like this was like pain that I could not handle on my own at home. Like it was to the point where like I need something. So I went to the ER one of the nights. It was like that first night because this happened um Christmas night, which was also, hold on. Actually, let me tell this first. So Christmas night ended up being kind of horrible. And basically what happened is I worked Christmas. So I worked my shift. I got off at 4. I come home, I'm getting ready. My mom was cooking dinner and we were gonna have a little bit of family over. And so I get ready. I loved my outfit, loved the makeup, everything. I didn't get any pictures because it turned out to be a very bad night for me. Um, and I'm like helping her set up, because I'm just like a really good host, I guess. Um, and then eventually family comes over, yada yada. My mom's still cooking dinner, and my mom's boyfriend had gotten her a new TV way bigger, like 55-inch TV, I'm pretty sure. My mom had like a 30-inch, so pretty drastic change. Um, and because my mom was still cooking and everyone was already over, I was like, hey, like, since we're waiting, like, why let's set up the new TV. Um, so everybody gets to helping with that. We're moving stuff around, and there was a lit candle next to, like, on the same table that her original TV was standing on. So my mom's boyfriend's son picked it up and put it on a separate table, and this was the table that had like that cheap paper like cloth on it, like holiday, what is it called, table cover? Yeah. Um didn't have the food or anything on it yet, obviously, because my mom was still cooking it. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, that doesn't seem so safe. So I went to go pick it up. Um, and mind you, it was only supposed to be like a second of holding a lit candle, right? Because I was just going to move that candle from that table to a separate table where nothing is flammable, whatever. We're safe. So I go to pick up the candle, and in the midst of that, so before I had picked up the candle, I had set my vape down on the couch. Um, because obviously I needed both my hands. I don't want to hold my vape the entire time, so I set my vape down on the couch, went to go help, and then I saw the candle, was about to move the candle. I pick up the candle to move it. It was only supposed to take like 1 second to do that. And all of a sudden, I hear my mom's dog chomping on something very hard. So I look down at the couch, vape's gone. I'm like, oh fuck. So obviously, my natural instinct was to use my other hand to grab his mouth and try to grab the vape out of it. Yeah, okay, so while that's happening, I'm still holding the lit candle. And I guess my hair brushed over the flame. My hair caught on fire. Devastating. My hair had caught on fire, and I'm not sure for how long. Because when I looked up, because I started smelling like burnt, like, I don't know if you've ever like smelt burnt hair, but it's like disgusting. And so I'm smelling it, and then I look down, and this whole side of my hair is in flames. So I'm like patting it out, and then like I have ash all over my hands. My hair is falling out in burnt chunks. I'm like, "Oh my god." And to know something about me is I take so much pride in my hair. Like, I'm not a natural blonde whatsoever. I think that's very apparent. Look at my roots. They're so bad. Um I'm naturally brunette, but I have been bleaching my hair for the last 2 or 3 years now. I think, yeah. Um, I go to my hairdresser every 6 to 8 weeks. Love her to death. She keeps my hair so healthy, so good, always looks so good. Besides winter time, because she is an hour and a half away from here, and it's kind of like through the mountains. So like when it comes to winter and the snow and the ice, I can't get to her. So that's what's going on right here. It's currently winter, obviously. Haven't been able to get an appointment with her because of the weather, and I'm not risking a wreck just to get my hair done. So during the winter, my hair's a little this. But besides winter, hair's always looking great. Every 6 to 8 weeks, love her. She stays on top of it for me, and I love her for that. Um but yeah, and so with my hair coming out in chunks, obviously that's a very like detrimental thing for me. I was so upset. I was, oh my god, I was so hurt. I went to my room and I'm just like in front of my mirror, just like pulling out chunks of fried hair. And so I start crying because I'm like, this is so, and I can imagine there's like maybe a few men that are gonna watch this like it's just hair. Like, yeah, okay, right. But you're a man and I'm a woman. And hair is very important, especially to me. And personally, I think my hair is like my best asset. Like, I've worked so hard on it. Well, my hairdresser has worked so hard on it. But I, always want to keep it in check all the time and the best it's ever looked. I've spent so much money on it and still do. So it's like, yeah, no, it sucks. Um Maybe crying over hair being burnt may come off as a bit dramatic to other people, whether that's men or women, but if you get it, you get it, okay? And yeah, so I'm crying and I'm just kind of sulking in my room for the next like hour or so, and then my mom, she's like telling me that dinner's ready, and I'm like, I can't go back out there. I literally can't because I don't know if anybody saw it happen. I mean, I was really embarrassed for starters. That's humiliating. Um, but also, I'm no longer in the mood to do anything now because I'm so upset. Like, my hair is destroyed. Like, I'm heartbroken. So, I actually didn't celebrate Christmas that night. I stayed in my room the rest of the night, um, which I do feel bad for because, family was over. We were all opening presents and, eating dinner together. And I didn't do any of that with them because of my hair. And that's probably going to sound so like stupid and whatever, but like to me, that was like the end of the world. And I never get like that. So it was a lot for me. But yeah, I spent the rest of the night in my room. I didn't eat, didn't open presents, didn't socialize, whatever. That was it. But I mean, it kind of worked out in the end because I did work that next day super early at 5:30 in the morning, so I kind of had to be in bed early anyway. And so I didn't even open my presents until the next day after work, which this is where the whole tooth stuff comes in because I actually didn't end up working that next day because that's so where I was going with this is that tooth pain started kind of right before I went to bed Christmas night. Um, and I was like, okay, well, it'll probably go away by the morning. I was so wrong. The morning comes, I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning when I work my 5:30 shifts. Um, because it takes me a very, very long time to like actually wake up and get up and stuff. So that's why I wake up like that early. Um, I wake up, oh my god, it's like 10 times worse. My tooth is in excruciating pain. So, I had to call out and I went to the ER that night because it had lasted all day. I was in excruciating pain all day and couldn't do anything. So I went to the ER. My mom went with me and they basically prescribed me a bunch of things for the pain. Like they prescribed me oxycodone, naproxen, and they gave me like these lidocaine balls to put in my mouth. And so that night when I got home, it's the first night taking all of that. Mind you, I have never taken oxy before. So that was new. And I know it's not like it's oxy, yeah, but it's oxy acetaminophen, it's used for pain, not in the way you would think, obviously. Um Regardless, that was my first time ever taking oxy. And so that first night, my mom and I were sitting down, we're watching Stranger Things. Oh my god. No, I can't get into that. Anyways, staying on task. Watching Stranger Things, I take the oxy, I'm doing the lidocaine balls, whatever. It worked that night and the oxy, all it really did was like it made me very, very loopy, which was weird. Kind of made me anxious at first, but then I got used to it and I was like, you know what, this is kind of nice, Like the feeling of being high, like a good high, you know? Um, and oh my god, it made me sleep so good though. If I say one thing about that drug is that it puts you to sleep. I slept so good. Um, Not for long, of course, because I mean, it only lasts so long. Then the pain comes back, it wakes you up out of sleep, and then you got to do the whole thing over and over. So basically, for the next 3 days, I'm calling out of work. I called out of work those 3 days because I couldn't get into a dentist. I couldn't go back into work until I saw a dentist. So, um, called out of work for 3 days, and I was taking Oxy every day along with all the other prescribed stuff. So after that first night, though, they all just stopped working. So yeah, the third night, I went back to the ER because I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, there's gotta be something that can hold me up one more night until the dentist offices open again on Monday, which would have been that next day. So I go back, and the nurse, he pretty much just told me, like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, there's nothing that I can really do for you. I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess suffer again. But they ended up, because I was questioning them medically, and because that's just the way I am. Excuse me. Um, I don't know if you guys can hear like my stomach rumbling. I feel like it's super loud to me, but hopefully it does not pick up on here. But anyways, sorry. I get so distracted so easily. Um, oh my god, where did Oh yeah, yeah. So he's telling me that he can't do anything. I'm like, are you sure? Like there's gotta be something. I mean, does it not say something where like all those drugs that I got prescribed for the pain a couple nights ago aren't working and the pain is that bad? Like, is that not some type of emergency to you? Clearly not. But they ended up giving me a shot in my butt. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but it was obviously for some kind of, it was for pain. But they didn't really tell me what it was or put it in my after visit summary, so that was kind of weird. But I got a shot in my butt, and it they said it was only gonna last about, I think it was 4 hours or 6 hours, between 4 to 6 hours. So it would kind of get me through the night, but I'd probably still wake up in the middle of the night with pain again. So you know what? I'll take it. I'm just gonna have to whatever. So I go back home, try to sleep, but I obviously, once it wore off, I kept getting woken up by the pain. The lidocaine balls weren't doing anything anymore. The oxy wasn't doing anything anymore. So yeah, that sucked. But then Monday comes around. Most of the dentists are back in office. So I call my dentist. I'm like, hey, I have been in excruciating pain with a dental emergency for the last 3 days. You guys have been out of office. I need you to fit me in somewhere today. Like, it's an emergency. Come on. And so they fit me in right in the morning. I'm like, perfect. I go there, and they ended up doing a partial root canal. I say partial because they didn't have time to complete the full root canal. So they started it, and that's what partial means. So they started a root canal for me, and obviously that's what needed to happen because even with it being halfway done, the pain gone. Just gone. Like, okay. So clearly my tooth was basically dying in the process. I don't really know how dental stuff works, but I'm assuming like in the process of like nerves dying in your teeth, and that's what all that pain is. So, assuming my tooth was practically just dying at that point. So taking the nerve out and whatever with the root canal obviously fix that shit real fast. So thank God for that. But the thing is Christmas and New Year's are so close to each other, of course, that they were going to be out of office again for New Year's. So I was getting a little anxious, I'm like, okay, I only have half a root canal done. They only have one more day left in office until they go back out of office for New Year's. I'm like, fuck. So I called them again Tuesday and I was like, hey, like, I know y'all are probably busy, but like, is there any way you can get me in again today to finish the root canal? Because I'm so scared that something's gonna happen with this root canal not being fully finished. And then you guys are gonna be out of office again, and I'm back at square one, and I cannot miss any more work. I go back to work Wednesday, the day that they go out of office again, and I don't want to go through any more pain. And they're like, yeah, we're pretty full, but we'll give you a call if anybody cancels. I'm like, okay. And then not even an hour later, they called me. They're like, hey, we got a spot open for you. I was like, but I will be there. That was such a crisp snap. Oh my god. Um, so I ended up getting it finished on Tuesday, thank God. And I have been a-okay ever since. I'm so relieved. I don't I say this like, okay, from personal experience, I've had a lot of dental stuff, but that's also because I'm British. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard like British people tend to have horrible teeth. I will say that stereotype is 100% true. It is so true. Um I really don't know where I was going with that. I'm today is so off for me. I keep losing like my train of thought. I don't know what's going on. Um shit. Um anyways, so yeah, got the root canal done. I've been a-okay ever since, and I'm so relieved because tooth pain is just like the worst. See, that's where I was going with it. I just needed to like think a little bit. Tooth pain. Granted, I've never broken a bone or anything like that ever in my life, so I feel like this is probably a hot take, but to me personally, I feel like tooth pain is the worst pain ever. And mind you, teeth are bone. So it's kind of the same thing, right? Right? Feel free to correct me on that. But tooth pain is literally the worst pain ever, in my opinion. I don't wish that on nobody. Maybe. No. It's 2026 now. Happy New Year. Happy late Christmas. We that's I'm going to try and be nicer this year. Actually, no, I take that back. Well, okay, here's the thing. Like nicer to everyone else but men. I need to be meaner to men. That's the goal this year. There we go. So yeah, that's that whole extravaganza. This morning I had a CT scan with contrast. Um, if you know, you know. Contrast is a very weird thing. But that's not my first rodeo, so at least I know what to expect with the contrast now, so I'm not like, freaking out. But I got a CT scan for my kidneys because I've been having some scares, which is also part of another reason I didn't film last week because I got all this news. I had done so many tests, done lab work and all that, and my results were pretty scary. So, that's what the CT scan was for this morning, was to rule out those scares from last week. And I did get the results back a couple hours ago, and from what I can decipher myself and from the help of my friend who works in the medical field, and also just looking those terms up online, don't have kidney failure, don't have any kidney disease. My kidneys are fine, so thank God. Because that was the biggest scare. Um, that being the worst case scenario, though. So kidneys are fine, but now I've just found out that I have a cyst on my cervix, possibly a bladder inflammation, uh, constipation, of course, obviously IBS. That's always gonna show up on tests. Um, oh, and something about my liver. Or no, not my liver. Lung, my lung. Apparently, I have some kind of like small something on my left lung. Something about like the airway or whatever. So that's weird. And you know what that could I don't know. When I was looking it up, it was saying like could be like mild bronchitis or and I don't know that much, but I don't think I have bronchitis. I think I would be coughing up a storm unless that's the other pneumonia. Fact check me on that one too. Isn't bronchitis where you're like hella coughing? I don't know. I don't have a cough. So, either way, whatever the right term is, I don't. Anyways, yeah, so that's today. So that's interesting news, but I do have an appointment in nephrology in March. It sucks that it's 2 months away, but that's for like the bladder slash kidney stuff. I'm sure they're gonna send these results over to my doctor. My doctor's gonna look, and if she finds anything concerning, then she'll tell me and order more things probably. But as far as I'm aware, the cyst on my cervix is not something to be worried about. It's benign. It's not cancerous. And it's small, so it really does not affect anyone at all. So I guess that's good. But it's just like what the what the fuck is happening to my body? I feel like I just keep getting more and more problems stacked up on the medical side of things. So that's wonderful. But hey, on the bright side though, I have a very good update. Um I finally got my hands on the Prucalopride. Not through insurance or anything like that cuz obviously if you guys have been listening, every week I have been going back and forth with my gastroenterologist and insurance and all for this medication. And I finally got it. I finally got it. It was through a different pharmacy. It's like Cost Drug Plus company or something like that. Um it doesn't go through insurance or anything. It just gets prescribed to you through that pharmacy and you just pay out of pocket for it. And you know what's so ironic? It's actually cheaper through that pharmacy than what it would be through insurance, which I find so interesting. It was only like 15 bucks. And that's for a month's supply, of course. Whereas if I were to go through insurance, it'd be like 50 bucks. So that's kind of crazy. But I got it through them. They shipped it to me. I started it 4 days ago. And I will say, this is exactly what I needed. I knew I was right. You know, for fighting to get this medication for however many months it's been now, it was all worth it for sure because obviously in the back of my mind I'm like what if it doesn't end up working and I just like humiliated myself by fighting so much with insurance and my gastroenterologist for this medication that didn't end up working. Well, it did. And I think that says so much because you knew I needed it. All the signs pointed to this medication to treat my IBS. And guess what? It works. The first medication that works. Like, it's so crazy to me. But anyways, I don't want to spend too much time talking about, that stuff. I still have a whole series to catch up you guys up on. And so that's what today is. Uh, you know, Mothering a Grown Man Part 2. That's where we're at. In my last episode I said I was going to take a mental note and I never ended up doing that. So I'm going solely based off of memory, which ain't the greatest. So bear with me, but I believe the last place that I left off was seeing a whole different side of him that was pretty scary. I'm pretty sure that's where I left off. But let's get back to it because oh my god, it's been I've been so bad at this. I'm so sorry again. Forgive me. Anyways, oh my god. Nope, sorry. One more thing. Because I love hauls, I wanted to show you guys what I got for Christmas. And it's not a lot or anything, which I don't ever expect. I'm more of a gift giver than I am a gift receiver. I don't know, I just get so like awkward opening gifts. Like I don't like opening gifts in front of people. That just seems so I don't know, I've never liked it. I don't know. Like I'm grateful, don't get me wrong. Like I'm grateful and I love them, but I prefer to gift people than have people gift me. And that's I guess that would be my beige flag relationship wise is I will literally buy you so many gifts. And that obviously gets taken advantage of and whatever I do too much. Anyways, so this is all what I got for Christmas. So, starting off big, I got this pink roses, the Lego sets. Super excited. Um I haven't done too many of these, but uh I've done a few and I'm looking at this, I'm like this is probably going to take forever to do. But I'm excited because it's so cute and I want to put it in my room. So, I got that and I also got a few smaller ones. This is like a vase, a Lego vase, and also another. It's a yellow rose to build, so this will probably go in that vase. So super, super fun, super cute. Um, I got this Metacube set. It's like a skincare brand. I'm not too familiar with them, but I've seen the that collagen night wrapping mask on TikTok everywhere. I'm like, I need that. So I put that on my list. So I got the collagen night wrapping mask, but it also came with collagen jelly cream and then the PDRN hydrating gel cleanser. Not sure if I would use these because my skin is absolutely very sensitive and very acne prone. It may not look like it. That's because I have makeup on. Under this makeup, my barrier is fucked. I constantly have acne. I have been made fun of it by my ex, and actually in middle school and high school. Except it did get better, but then it all came back once I hit like my 20s. So that's wonderful. And so I've been dealing with the acne. I have a dermatologist. She keeps prescribing me things that aren't working, so I've just kind of been on my own. I try to use my red light therapy as much as I can. Other than that, I've just kind of like stopped doing everything. So, not that I was even doing a lot. I was only using like CeraVe uh face wash in the morning and then obviously following up with the moisturizer. But then I switched to Vana cream. So now I use a tiny amount of the Vana cream face wash on my face. So it's mostly water, just water to see if that does anything. And then if my face does feel dry, I'll put a tiny bit of Vana cream moisturizer on. And so far, I mean, it's only been like a week, I think. I feel like my skin is definitely clearing up a little bit, but I'm still having like the breakouts only happen like here and up here. Never my forehead. My forehead is clear as day. I don't know. So if you're a esthetician or a dermatologist, perhaps please give me advice. I need it. But yeah, that's the Metacube set that I got. Um, I got two candles. This one, it's Campfire Nights. Smells pretty good. The other one I have on a separate table somewhere, but they smell good. Um, and then I got this Pureology Color Fanatic leave-in spray. It's like leave-in conditioner. It does so many things. I've used it already. It's pretty good. Um, I'm typically a Redken girly. All of my products are Redken. Shampoo, conditioner, sprays, leave-ins, all of it. It's all Redken. But I've heard pretty good things about Pureology, and they're basically the same price. Pretty pricey stuff. And this is what I mean by like I take so much pride in my hair and I spend so much money. I only get the expensive shit. Like I spend so much money on products for my hair. So, you know. So I switched to Pureology because I heard this stuff was really good. So, along with this, I also got Pureology shampoo and conditioner. I think it was like the Hydrate Sheer, um, specifically for bleached and color treated hair. Um, those are obviously in my shower, so I'm not gonna grab them just to show, but yeah, so the Pureology leave-in spray along with the shampoo and conditioner. Um, then so my mom got me these travel size Libre perfumes. Every time I go to Sephora or Ulta, I never or I'm a perfume whore. I have a really bad, what's the word? Like I don't know if it's like a kink or something. I don't know, but I spend most of my money on perfume. And if you know me, you absolutely know that I have too much perfume, I feel. And when it comes to expensive perfume, I really need to stop. I have a whole shrine over yonder on my vanity of all my expensive perfumes. Um, I can't show you right now, but I will say, just looking, I currently on this nightstand, I have the YSL Black Opium, and then the YSL Libre, the Victor and Rolf, wh- what is it called? Flower Bomb? Yeah. I have Prada, I have Chanel Chance, and then I have Coco Chanel. I have a Coach perfume, and Miss Dior, of course, my baby. But yeah, anyways, um, so she got me two of these from TJ Maxx actually. And this is my first time ever smelling not Libre in general, but this perfumes have different versions. A lot of people don't know that, and that's crazy to me. But again, that's just because I'm so addicted to perfumes. Um, yeah, no, every perfume has different versions of itself. So this isn't just Libre, it's the Libre. I don't even know what version this is, to be honest. But not the original Libre. It's like a different, you know. And I smelt it and I'm like, wait, I really, really like this. I liked it so much that I got myself the biggest bottle of it. Um, which I will show. But yeah, my mom got me two of these. Super nice, super. So, with the money that I got for Christmas, um, I got the big bottle of the YSL Libre. It smells so good. And the bottle is just so sexy. Like, look at this thing. It's so good. And then, because I was running out, I also got another bottle of the Miss Dior. Everybody has a scent, everybody has their favorite perfume, their staple. This is her. This is her. She has been wonderful every single year. Stock up on this shit. It's so love her. Love Miss Dior. I'm just Dior. I feel like everybody has like a designer brand that they're a big fan of too. Used to be Chanel for me. I'm still a big fan of Chanel, but I converted to Dior. Now everything I own is Dior. Um, my sister, funny story actually, she was actually going to buy me the big bottle of Miss Dior, but I guess something happened through Amazon. I don't know why. She was trying to order through Amazon, but hey, it's okay. She tried ordering it through Amazon, and I guess something happened with the order, so she didn't end up getting the perfume. She got refunded, and then they just sent her a mini. look how look how tiny and actually low key adorable this thing is. Mind you, this isn't even the correct version. Again, every perfume has different versions. This is the Miss Dior Blooming Bouquet. This is just Miss Dior. This is the one that I use. This one I've never used ever in my life. And it still smells really good. Like, I really like it. It smells good. But it's not the, so I'm kind of glad that that whole, not to sound, I hope this doesn't come off weird, but what I'm trying to say is like, I'm kind of glad that that order got messed up, because the last thing I would have wanted is for her to get the biggest bottle of this one. Um, because I would have felt bad, and like knowing it's the wrong one, and like I would have still used it regardless, of course, and been grateful, but I don't want to put that on anybody. So I'm kind of glad about that. And they also sent her a bunch of the mini samples of it too, all of the same blooming bouquet. So that's, yeah. Um and then along with ordering myself the biggest bottle of Miss Dior and the Libre, I have always wanted the Dior blush. So I got myself the Dior blush in the shade 012 Rosewood. I currently have it on right now. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. She's so tea, and it's so fancy looking. Here, I'll try and open this. Here we go. I don't know if you'll be able to see from here, but she's so gorgeous. She's gorgeous. She's tea. Oh god, I just love it. And with that, I got a matching um lip maximizer oil thingy. Lip gloss, basically. Just say lip gloss. Oh my god. Plumping lip gloss by Dior. It's the exact same shade. It's rosewood. Well, I mean, it doesn't say on the bottle. But it's the Dior Addict Lip Maximizer in 009. But I believe the shade was still rosewood. So these are actually the same shade, which is kind of cool. But I got this one because I currently use the e.l.f. lip gloss. Um, can't remember what the shade's called, but it's the exact same color, and I love that e.l.f. one so much. I saw this, I'm like, wait, this is really close to that, and it is. So love that. So that's all what I ordered for myself. Do not ask me how much it cost, because yeah, it was quite a bit. But it's okay. I'm using Klarna. But yeah, I'm very excited. I love my perfumes. I love perfume in general. I will forever be a perfume addict and a Dior girly. Anyways, I think that was everything. Trying to think if there's anything else that I got that isn't in the room besides the shampoo and conditioner. Um, yeah, I think that was all. Yeah, so that's what I got for Christmas. I hope you guys got everything you wanted, or most of what you wanted, and had a better Christmas than I did. But I'm still grateful for the things I got, and so yeah. Now let's actually get into what we need to be talking about. So I believe I was last talking about seeing a whole different side of him, yada yada. So that I want to go into as much context as I can without like getting too personal, cuz like I don't really know what the right and wrong thing to say is, to be honest. Even though I'm literally just sharing my experience, you never know, like you just never know. So, there was one night, um, that I was staying. So I had my apartment, and it was shared washers and dryers, and you have to put coins in to be able to use them, blah blah blah. Well, I was trying to do my laundry that day, but the washer, they were broke, all the washers were broken, so I literally physically couldn't do my laundry. So like, I asked him, I'm like, hey, can I like use your washer and dryer? Like, I don't want to be like a burden, but like, I really need to wash my work clothes before I go back to work, blah blah blah. And of course, other laundry, I do my laundry once a week, so like, I have to do my laundry. Um and he said yes and whatnot. So I go over to his place with my laundry, and I'm, I had to ask permission to his face once I got. I don't. He made it this weird thing. Like, he had already said yes, so that's why I brought my laundry over, right? Because he told me I could use his washer and dryer. Um, and I get there, and he's already mad at me for something. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, hey, like, I have my laundry. Like, can I use your washer and dryer? And then it just blows totally out of proportion. Just immediately pissed off at me for whatever reason. Like, you didn't even ask me nicely. Like, you need to ask me nicely. So I'm like, okay, can I please use your washer and dryer? But of course, he took that as like, you don't mean that. Like, you're being, you know, I don't really know how else to describe that. So then I'm like, okay. So then I'm just sitting there like, okay, so will you tell me if I'm allowed to use your washer and dryer right now? Because if you're not going to let me anymore, then I'm going to have to take all of this to my mom's house. And I'd rather know now because it's already the evening. I work tomorrow. I need to get all my shit washed. And he got pissed off at me for that, of course, too. So he was like, well, just go and use the washer and dryer. I'm like, okay. So he's like really pissed off. So I'm like, I guess this is the perfect opportunity to have some space because his washer and dryer was in the bathroom across the hall. So I didn't have to, stay in the same room as him. And because I was so uncomfortable with his anger, I stayed in the bathroom the whole time my laundry was on because I just didn't want to be around him. But unfortunately, I had to wash my clothes. And because I was staying in there, not talking to him, that made him even more mad. He came storming over. And I'm sorry, but just please picture a 6'8" man throwing a fit, storming over to you because he's mad that he's mad at you for no reason and you're not responding to him. Right. Yeah, embarrassing. Anyway, so he storms over to the bathroom, kicks the door open, it hits the wall, and I have a lot of childhood trauma with abuse, with that kind of behavior. So, yeah, I kind of I went into like not fight or flight cuz granted I didn't fight nor flight. I just kind of froze. And like going like this cuz I'm like, what? It's trauma. Like, that your behavior is what caused that. And he kicks the door open so hard, hits the wall so hard. I'm just like staring at him like so wide-eyed, like, oh my god, what is this man gonna do? He didn't end up doing anything. But just seeing that like anger in his eyes, I do sometimes wonder what that could have turned into. I'm thankful nothing happened out of that. God forbid. But yeah, that was like pretty scary. And at that point, I was like, I no longer feel safe around this man. And he just doesn't get that. So that's kind of where I started getting more and more distant with the man because that was just crazy. Um, so that's what that was about. Um, and then he didn't like. apologize about that until like later when we were basically breaking up for the last time, when I brought that up, but then he ended up still using that against me. Actually, I can't remember if him using it against me was before or after he apologized for that, but either way, like that's still like fucked up. So, but yeah, for the rest of the relationship, like I have to constantly like ask him, like mind you, I was already being mommy. I was driving him around everywhere. He doesn't have a car, doesn't have a job. I'm paying for all of his shit. Um, in terms of like his weed stuff, like I had to buy all that because he wasn't 21. Um, never paid me back for any of that. Never ever once gave me gas money besides the one time where I asked him, like, hey, maybe, $10 would be nice at least. I'm constantly driving you around everywhere and you're not really helping me with gas. And like, I'm running out of gas and I can't afford it every time because I already used so much gas to get to work and back because work was 16 minutes away and I'm driving there every day, there and back. Like, and then on top of that, I gotta drive you to school, pick you up, drop you off, take you back for practice, pick you up from practice, take you around town so you can go shopping and pick up your weed shit and vice versa. So I finally got the balls one day to be like, hey, like, do you have like $10 that you can like give me to help with gas? I should have never had. Oh my god. Um, I'm not just a bank. Okay, well, neither the fuck am I. Yet here I am driving your ass around everywhere like the mommy that I am, buying all your shit, and not once have you paid me back for anything. And you can't even give me $10 for gas? Mind you, that was the first time I ever asked. Like, oh my god. He ended up giving me the $10. But still, it was like such a big, huge thing to him to just help me out. So ridiculous. Oh. And mind you, on top of that, he claims he's not a bank, but this is like one of those privileged men type of situations. They don't have a job, they don't have an income, so they don't have their own money, but they get money from their family because they're entitled and privileged and whatever. And so he'd spend all of his money on weed and food and shit he didn't need. But when I would bring up the fact that he never got me flowers or took me on dates or anything like that, suddenly he has no money. Like, and I don't even like, I don't expect men to like always get me flowers or always take me on dates or anything like that. But I'm so sorry. If you're trying to win a woman over, take her on dates, buy her flowers. It's common fucking sense. Like it why are we having to ask for it these days in this generation? I will never understand that part. Like you're supposed to go on dates before you start dating. Hello? And every woman loves flowers. It shows them that you appreciate them, you love them, you just want to do something nice for them. Not once did this man take me on a single fucking date. Not once. The entire 4 months we were together. Not one single date. Our first date was him coming over to my apartment to watch movies. Horrible. What the fuck? He only ever got me flowers once, and that was for my birthday, which that's a whole nother thing. And honestly, this seems to be happening every year for me. So another New Year's resolution this year is to not date a single man this year so that way I can actually have a good birthday. Um So my birthday comes around, he was supposed to make plans with me, but yeah. Um, I spent most of the day. Well, I of course woke up with him on my birthday. Um, I can't even remember if he said happy birthday to me or not. I won't lie. But I told him I was like, "Hey, like I want to get some birthday pictures at some point today. So, like I will be leaving you at some point. I also want to go around and take advantage of the free drinks and stuff, like, not alcohol. I mean like, at coffee shops they'll do freebies on your birthday or whatever. That's usually what I do. That's the only thing I can do in this small town is just go around all the coffee shops and get a free birthday drink, you know? And I'm the type of person that like I'll go to my favorite place and get my free birthday drink, but then I'll go to all the other ones and get free drinks for my friends. Um so that's what I did, and then I met up with my roommate. We did our makeup, and then we went to some places to take some pictures together. So I got some birthday pictures. Um, and then he told me that he was gonna make me a nice birthday dinner, and celebrate the night with him with the dinner, some wine, and blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay. So then I turned down going out to eat with my roommate and her friends because I was saving my stomach for the meal that he was going to make me for my birthday, because I have a very small stomach and I very rarely I don't eat a lot. I have a very small stomach. And so that was a problem with him too. He would make me food, which was only ever meat stuff. Granted, I don't eat meat. He would make me food and then would get mad at me if I didn't finish it all. There were a few times he genuinely created arguments with me because I didn't eat every last bit of the food he made me because I got full. So that's what that was, and I'm sure that's probably a trauma response too. I declined going out to eat and having my meal paid for by my friends to save my stomach for whatever the fuck he was going to cook me for my birthday so that he wouldn't get mad at me. So, I'm waiting all day, after I was done with the photos and stuff. I'm waiting all day, waiting for him to say something like, "Oh, you can come over now," like blah blah blah, and it's getting pretty late, and I had a few drinks at least because I couldn't eat, but I could drink. And so I got like this lemon drop. Um, because like the way that it worked is I still went to dinner with my friends. I just didn't order any food. So I ordered myself like a lemon drop, and then I took a couple sips because I'm not the biggest drinker, especially back then. Um, and so just that lemon drop alone pretty much got me tipsy. I'm so lightweight. And so like I'm kind of just like after that, I get back home. I'm at my apartment just chilling, kind of drunk, um, starving. And I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's getting so late, and I'm like, okay, like, are you gonna? So I text him. I'm like, hey, like, are we still doing dinner? Because if not, like, I'd rather you tell me so I can eat. I haven't eaten anything today because I've been saving my stomach because you told me you were gonna cook me a birthday dinner. Pissed him off. Just asking that pissed him off. He's all mad at me, like, no, we're not doing dinner anymore, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, perfect. Then I'm gonna go get food and stay home because not only did you just get mad at me for asking because it's been all day and you haven't said a word to me about this dinner. Mind you, I've been waiting on you all day, saving my stomach, haven't eaten a single thing. Um, and you're gonna get mad at me for asking about it? Yeah, no. I'm good. I'm good off that actually. I'm just gonna stay home and get food or make something myself. Um, That pissed him off too. And it's also the fact that how are you gonna tell me that you're gonna plan this thing, you're gonna do this nice thing for me on my birthday, and then not end up doing that? That's obviously going to make someone feel kind of like bummed out, like, oh, okay. So because I said that, he's getting even more mad and is like, well, are you still gonna come over tonight? I'm like, yeah, sure, I guess. And so I go over, and mind you, it's like really late at night at this point. I go over there, I walk into his room. He's not in there, but there he has like a gift bag for me on his bed, and then on his little counter was a bouquet of flowers, and then the dinner that he said he was no longer cooking. And I had eaten something because I had been waiting all day, and he told me he wasn't anymore. So I'm like, fuck, like I'm supposed to be happy right now, but I'm just not. Like I'm pissed off. He comes walking in the room all like switched up all of a sudden, like he's happy and like, happy birthday. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here right now. I didn't even want to open the presents because I just didn't want to be there. And I'm looking at he made me spaghetti. Um, and spaghetti is my favorite meal ever. Hey guys, sorry, I had to take a little pause there for a second. But anyways, yeah, it was just like, that's nice and all, but like, you already told me that you weren't doing it anymore, so I already ate. And now like, I'm not hungry. I'm not gonna have the appetite to eat this, and then you're gonna get mad at me for that too. So it's just like so many like problems along with all of that. So yeah, um and it was just not it was a horrible night for me. Um he made me open the presents in front of him and whatever, and it's already hard enough for me to like react while opening like I said earlier, it's just super awkward for me, like I don't know. So I'm just like standing there, opening all the presents which by the way, presents being an iPad, which is not like a brand new iPad or anything. I'm assuming it was like a iPad he's probably had for a long time because it was very used, and it does not even work. Um, it only functions and stays alive if it's on the charger. You could fully charge that thing, and it'll die as soon as you turn it on, even if it's at 100%. The iPad is fucked. It's worthless. I literally haven't used it. I mean, I've tried to use it to play like games like Roblox, Dress to Impress on it, but it's so incredibly laggy. It's so slow, and in order to use it, you got to keep it on the charger. But then even then, it's like it's a shitty iPad. But it was an iPad, um, and then this like um little stuffed animal. The ones that you can like um push in and out, and it's like a different face. It's like the happy one and the mad one, and you push it when you're happy or mad or whatever. One of those things, which is so ironic. Um and that's all I can genuinely. Oh, lingerie. Um yeah, that was it. Besides the flowers and the spaghetti for dinner, and yeah, for the rest of that night, I just really did not want to be there. And it was a horrible birthday. I felt so incredibly like trapped and just like mentally not there and just exhausted. Um, and that was like the only time he had ever done anything for me. My issue is in relationships, I'm always the one that does the most. And it's not something I can necessarily change about myself. I am a hopeless romantic. When I love someone, I will go all out for them. Like, I will show you that, I love you and blah, blah, blah. So I'm always the one treating them like the princesses, driving them around everywhere they need to go, buying them everything, getting gifts all the time, sentimental gifts, setting up cute little dates for them, which is so disgusting of me. I don't know why I ever did that. Um, like there were many times before that, I would go over to his place while after dropping him off um at school, whether it was for practice or class, and I'd go clean his room, I'd go fold all his laundry, then I would set up his room all nice and light some incense and set up some wine glasses and a wine bottle and you know so that when he would get back he could just relax and but it was never relaxing with him. um but honest, there was this one time that he had stayed at my apartment all day while I was at work. I didn't even know he was doing that. Um, this was like one of the very few times he ever stayed at my apartment. Um, he had stayed the night and I left in the morning to go to work, obviously. He was supposed to walk home because the thing is, um, he doesn't have a car, but we lived like not even 5 minutes away from each other. Like I lived up on this like slight hill. All he had to do was walk all the way down, turn right, and then left, and then boom, he's home. Like it was not even a block away. And mind you, on that walk, you have the university on the left, so he could even take his own self to school and back. If he had spent more time at my apartment, he could have just walked to and from school to go to practice to you know class and even home. Like it was very manageable, besides obviously going to stores and stuff that's more further downtown. Like yeah, but anyways, there was that one time he ended up staying the entire day at my apartment while I was at work. I came home, thinking, I'm gonna have peace for a little bit. I'm home alone, nobody here. I can just relax. And I walk in my room, and lo and behold, there he is. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because I thought he was leaving. He told me he was going to be leaving at some point when he woke up, but no, he ended up staying there the entire time. I was like, oh, great, you're here. And he had actually reorganized my entire room without even asking me first. One thing about me is I hate when people touch my shit. I will let people use my stuff and offer it, but if you're going to like move things around and I like had things placed in a certain way, I'm a very OCD person and that's really gonna piss me off. So the fact that you spent all day in my room in my apartment fucking everything up in my room, moving because you just wanted to rearrange it and you didn't think to fucking ask me first if you could touch my stuff and also ask if you could just like reorganize. No. So I was pissed off and I hated it. It was horrible. Like completely switched everything up. And I just wanted to kick him out. And he even took one of my old candles and wrote on Sharpie on it his name's ashtray. So he was essentially using an old candle as his ashtray now and renamed it that. And had already had like ashes in there from his joints and shit. In my room. Mind you, I've never had a problem with people smoking. I'm pretty sure I've said this before. But when it comes to my room though, like I try to like not have that smell in there because I personally don't smoke. The last thing I want is to like have my room smelling like that very strongly because that's not what I do. Again, I don't have a problem with people who do. And, I'll go to people's houses whose, theirs smell like that very strong, or they do it in their room or whatever. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But my room, fuck no. Like, leave that shit in your own home. But no, he would smoke all the time in my room. And, I mean, if I would have said anything, it would have been one other argument. But, yeah, that really, really pissed me off. And, there's so much more to the story too that I'm trying to remember at the top of my head. It was now 2 years ago, since it's the new year. So, and I've healed from it. I mean, I healed from it very long time ago. So once I'm like absolutely done with someone in my life, I'm not gonna remember anything anymore because I healed so much to the point where I just blocked you out of my life now. I mean, that's also how trauma works too. Like, obviously, I still remember the very traumatic things and I still have all the screenshots and everything I ever needed out of that relationship. Um, I still have all of it on my phone. Honestly, I'll probably just need to sit down one day and just reread everything again so that, next episode I'll be like, oh yeah, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. And you know what? That is exactly what I'm going to do because I don't want to like sugarcoat this whole thing and like make it seem like a whole big thing and then I'm saying not a lot about it, but there is a lot to it. I'm just having a hard time like on the top of my head because it's all in screenshots and it's all in my phone. I just have to actually genuinely take the time to sit down and reread everything and unfortunately relive the moment um through reading all that. That way I'm actually like, "Oh yeah." Um but I will let me actually fast forward to um I think it was like June. It was June or July, so a little bit after my birthday. Um, or maybe it was still in May. See, I'm gonna have to sit down and read everything. But so and also he never really like introduced me to his roommates or anything. Like obviously they all play the same sport, go to the same college, whatever. But I never talked to any of them. And he had this friend that would come over a lot, his best friend. He not in the same sport. He played a different sport. He had a girlfriend too, and they would come over all the time to hang out with him and smoke and whatever. And I remember the first time that he came over with his girlfriend. Um, I'm not really like one to. I mean, in the state that I was in mentally back then too, like my first instinct's not gonna be like, "Oh, hey, how are you? Like, wanna be friends? Like, what's your name?" Like, I was very reserved and quiet and just kinda like to myself. And, she's actually still a very close friend to this day. She noticed me and came up to me and sat on the bed with me, was like, "Hey," like, introduces herself and, we start talking while her and, my ex at the time were chatting away and I was like, "Oh, this is kind of nice." Like she came up to me and she wants to be my friend and blah blah blah. And so, over time, we started getting closer with each other. We would Snapchat each other, we would hang out. Um and I remember there was this one night I was staying over at his house and like every other guy, um they either never wake up to their alarms that they set on their phones or forget to set the alarms before falling asleep. So, in this instance, it was, you know, his alarm constantly going off, but he's not waking up. So, I stay the night, right? He sets his alarms, we go to bed. And I wake up in the morning to his alarms going off. This was a constant thing. Um, his alarms are going off. I'm the one that has to snooze them. So, and you know how like you can snooze the alarm on your phone if you just click any button, like whether that's the volume button, the power button, whatever. That's what I would do. So instead of like actually picking up his phone and like looking at it to hit snooze or whatever it was, um, I would just grab his phone and just click a button so that it would go away until the next one, you know? And I was doing that constantly. And then it just kept going off and off and off to the point where like I'm fully awake at this point. So, I grab his phone, I'm looking at it and it was unlocked. It was unlocked, alarm's going off, so I snooze it and it goes like to the Snapchat page. Like obviously like the banner with like the alarm going off takes up the whole screen. Once you snooze it, it goes to the page it was last on the phone. So in this sense, I hit snooze, it goes to Snapchat. So I'm looking at his unlocked phone on Snapchat. I was like, oh, he probably forgot to lock his phone before he went to bed. So I'm about to lock his phone for him, right? But then at the very top of his list is this girl. And I'm like, don't do it. You're gonna hurt your own feelings. Don't do it. I, I'm only so strong, guys. I've never, ever, 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 ever do I ever go through a man's phone because we all know how stupid that is. It's not worth your time because 99% of the time you're gonna find out something you don't want to know. Obviously, me knowing this, but I'm in the relationship with this guy, so like intuition's telling me that's kind of strange. And then the other side's telling me don't do it because you're gonna get your feelings hurt probably. And then if you tell him you went through his phone, he's gonna be like, you went through my phone? And make it all about that, which is exactly what happened. Um, so I obviously gave in and I looked, I like half swiped it at first. And it was very recent too. I half swiped this message from this girl and my heart sank to my fucking stomach. I swear to God. I started shaking. I like hyperventilating at this point, like filled with rage as he's literally sleeping right next to me like the big baby he is, just snoring away, and I just found out that he had been cheating on me. Um and it was basically, messages between him and this girl from, I'm assuming, his home area, so like, Seattle area. Pretty sure she was from Seattle. They had been texting ever since we started dating, which this is where the confusion comes in because it's a very complicated timeline. So basically, the first, like, I want to say 1 to 2 months, we weren't dating, but we were obviously very exclusive. It wasn't until, I had asked him one random day, like, oh, how come you haven't asked me to be your, or no, 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 no. No, I never, no, okay, this is what happened. See, it's all coming back now. There was one random day where he had gotten a phone call from one of his teammates asking where he was at, and he goes, "Oh, I'm with my girlfriend." And so I look at him and I'm like, "Girlfriend? Like you've never asked me that." So when he got off the phone, I was like, "Girlfriend?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I just tell people you're my girlfriend because I mean, like kind of are." And I was like, "Well, I mean, that's pretty cool, but like you never actually asked me to be your girlfriend though." So it's like kind of, he got mad at me for that, and then was like telling me that I'm just egging it on and trying to, in that moment I was wanting him to ask me to be his girlfriend and basically forcing him to ask me to be his girlfriend, and just he liked the term egging on so much. He used that all the time. I don't know how I was egging that on in any sense. That's still very confusing to me. But I was like, girlfriend, like you haven't asked me to be your girlfriend, so that's just kind of that's why I'm asking, you know. And so that pissed him off. He got all mad about it, and then in that very moment, he's like, okay, well, will you be my girlfriend? So lame, by the way, so fucking lame. I don't know what it is about like I don't know if it's just this generation or like what has happened, but like really, that's it. You're just gonna ask, will you be my girlfriend? That's so fucking lame. Oh my god. So lame. But unfortunately, yeah, I said yes. Anyways, so it was 2 days after that day that I had found that girl in his phone. And so 2 days after, I'm looking through, all the messages, and they were flirting with each other. He's calling her love, planning to, meet up with each other when he goes back home. Um, wow, now that I'm saying this out loud, it's sounding really similar to my last one. Oh, I hate that one. I hate when that happens. It's like my last ex just did me the exact same way that. Wow, okay. Hmm. Gotta sit with that for a second. Um, Now I'm pissed off. But yeah, no, I do have a screenshot. I made sure to take a picture from my phone. I took a picture of his phone conversation with this girl on my phone so that I had proof for it, because I'm pretty sure I probably mentioned this before, but when you grow up in a narcissistic household, you learn very quickly that proof is everything. And so, you know, I knew that, had I not taken a picture, had any kind of proof of this, I would bring it up eventually, and that like that's not true. So that's why I do these things. And because that's how I grew up my entire childhood. It's like you proof or you're just not gonna get believed. That's the unfortunate way that works. Um so I still have this picture on my phone. So I mean, next time, like before next week's episode, I'll try to remember to write it down so I can read it off. Because unfortunately, yes, I do use my phone to record, so it's not like I can just grab my phone and read it to you guys. Um, and no, I don't have two phones. I don't, this is all I got. This is all I got. So, um, but I will try to remember that. But it was basically just a conversation that like she was saying like, I'm excited to see you, smiley face, blushy faces, and all that. And he would be like, likewise, likewise, calling her love. And that's something I thought he only called me, but I guess not. It turns out he calls every woman love, which is crazy. Um, and I didn't know what to do in that moment. I obviously did not want to wake him up, and anything could have happened, whether it was anger or whatever. So I lock his phone, I put it back where it was. I go to the bathroom and I call the girl, the my his best friend's girlfriend, because at that point we were really close. So I call her, I'm like, "Hey, sorry to like bother you, but like I just found out he has been cheating on me." Um and she was trying to comfort me, and she was obviously I was telling her everything that I saw. I was reading the picture to her, um and this was also on a day off. I didn't work this day, so I had already planned on spending the entire day with him, and this was just like, oh fuck, what do I do now? And she was having her class was going up to like the lake. um, I don't even remember what the class was for or what that little trip was for, but she invited me to go up there with her in her class just to get away from him. And so I had agreed, and shortly after he like woke up, um he's like, "Oh, can you take me to class and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." Just totally acting so nonchalant because I didn't want to tell him what I found out in that very moment, so I pretended like all was well as much as I could. So he wakes up, and he gets straight to asking me to take him to class. I'm like, "Yep." So on the way to the college, I'm and here's where I get a little at least I think I'm funny when I do this kind of stuff, but on my way there, I'm playing music in my car and I played She Knows by J. Cole. Just maybe put that into his brain a little bit, but I mean, no, not a thought behind those eyes, I guess. I thought it was pretty funny, but whatever. Just kind of soft launching the what's about to go down later. Um, I drop him off, yeah, and then I go back to my apartment. I change, I get ready for the day, whatever, and then um when I pick him back up later, I tell him, I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna go with her and her class up to the lake. She invited me, so I'm gonna go. And he was like, okay. Like kind of got a little irritated with me for it because I wouldn't be spending the rest of the day with him and I was actually doing something with my life with other people. Um so I go up with her and her class. It was actually pretty fun. They did like kayaking and cooked hot dogs and all that kind of stuff, and she's just trying to comfort me as much as she can. I'm so grateful that people like that are such beautiful people. You meet someone for the first time, you see that they're, kind of reserved and laid back and quiet or shy even, and you take the time to go up to them and introduce yourself and, make them feel comfortable, and then you become really good friends with them. And, in situations like this, especially, you make sure that, you help them as much as possible. And I will forever love her for that. Like, she's such an amazing person, and in the short span of us barely knowing each other too, like that's such a she has such a beautiful soul, and I'm so thankful for her. Um, but yeah, it was pretty fun, but unfortunately, the entire time, that's all I could think about was what am I gonna tell him? How am I gonna do it? Whatever. Um, yeah, and so that same day, yeah, it was either the same day or the next day. They had like the awards ceremony for like athletes. He was obviously a part of because he played a sport. Um, and I hadn't have been with him at all that day. In fact, I actually spent my time at this girl's dorm at the college, just hanging out with her, trying to come up with some kind of plan, have her help me how to approach it, whatever. And it was a big day for him and the other athletes because I mean they're getting awards if they are. Um, and so yeah, it was kind of a shitty day to do it, but I just wanted to get it over and done with and couldn't keep it in any longer because the more I was distant with him, the more mad he would get. Like when I was up at the lake, I was getting so dry with him. I was barely responding. Mind you, first of all, there is no service up there. There's like maybe one or two spots you can get a little bit of service every now and then, but it's very hard. There's absolutely no service up there, so either way, I could not message him. And because of that, because he hadn't have heard from me for hours, or I was being dry when I could respond, he get pissed off, start spam calling me, blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, like I'm busy. But obviously, I was just purposely ignoring him too. Um, and so, uh, yeah, I'm at her dorm room. We're trying to come up with something together, and she recommended I just like tell him, like we need to talk, um, yada yada. And so that's exactly what I do. I text him. I'm like, what are you doing after the ceremony thing? Because we need to talk. And he was like, well, tell me what we need to talk about first. And I was like, no, like, I just need to have a conversation with you in person. He was like, well, I'm not going to talk to you if you don't tell me what it's about. I'm like, no, that defeats the whole fucking point. Just tell me if you're free after so we can have a talk in person because this is very serious and we need to talk about it. And it's that same thing over and over. Well, no, because you're not telling me what it's about. Like, brother, get a fucking grip. Eventually, it comes close to that time and him and his roommates are all back at their house, and they're celebrating, they're drinking, they're smoking, still in their suits and shit. And I go over there to have a serious conversation with him. He knew it was going to be a serious one, so, and of course he did not take that seriously himself. So, he's like, well, how long is this going to take? Because I want to be out there celebrating with my buddies. Okay, then why did you tell me to can come over? So I go over there. First instinct is obviously running through my head like, you need proof. I recorded the whole thing. I honestly, I think only the girl really knows about that. I still have that recording too. Yeah. Anyways, so I recorded the whole thing because I knew he would try to downplay it in some way. And I go over. I had been drinking too, so I'm already just kind of fueled in that sense. And we're sitting in his room, um, and I just start like asking him a bunch of rhetorical questions, some hypotheticals every now. I love me a good hypothetical question. Um, but kind of just like easing into it, hoping he'll get the hint that I know what he did, but he just would never get. And then he was getting irritated at me because I'm kind of fucking around with him, you know, just not getting to the point because I want him to like react. Like, are you gonna, what it's about? And he just kept getting annoyed with me. So I'm like, okay, well, you cheated on me, woo! And that kind of blew up. Yeah, it did not end well. Well, I mean, okay, so he stayed pretty calm and like nonchalant the entire time, and it's all in the record. I mean, he was being very dismissive, um, and it basically, and you know what that showed me is that he obviously knows he fucked up and that he got caught, and obviously also, like I mentioned before, his first thing was, so you went through my phone. I was like, actually, no, buddy, you left it unlocked and it was on Snapchat, and you just so happened to have the woman at the very, very top, so that's not really my fault. That kind of gave me the green light to look. Sorry. And, you know, after pressing him for like almost an hour, I got him to actually admit that he was a cheater. And I'm just like giggling, because I had got it on video. He still to this day doesn't know that I recorded the whole thing. Um, so that's kind of cool. But um, yeah, that's how that played out. And I wish I could give more detail on how that like played out. But the fact is, that was like an hour long conversation. I was running off of adrenaline. Um, so I don't even remember everything I said or that he said. It's all in this recording though, and I still have it on my phone. Um, but I mean, I'm sure you can imagine how that conversation went anyway. Just calling your ex out for cheating on you and then denying it or being dismissive or trying to switch it up on you somehow. You know how it goes. Um, but yeah, that's how that went. And I think this would be a good spot to end this episode. Um, I genuinely think the rest of this story can fit in one more episode. So there'll probably only be 3 parts for this one. I do want to warn you guys that My next series on my most recent ex is going to be a very long one because there's so much to it. It was a very it was much longer in terms of, the relationship, compared to 4 months that was a year. So it's a lot longer and it's still very, very, very fresh. So I have very clear memory on that one. Um, but yeah, I think this is a good place to leave off. And after, the whole cheating situation of it all, it just keeps going downhill from there. And it's not much more to it after that because that was, you know, closer to us ending and whatever. Um, so yeah, I will pick up the last part next week, as long as nothing gets in the way this time, but I don't think I'll have any more dental emergencies, or hopefully nothing else get in the way again, because I mean, obviously I'm pretty sure you can all tell that it's definitely affected me because I'm having a hard time remembering like what all I've said in the last couple episodes because it's been 2 weeks. So, I understand now that missing um weeks or certain days does affect the podcast, cuz yeah, I'm having a hard time. But here we are, we're back. It's fine. We should be good from now on. Um I have some dental stuff scheduled for this month and next month. Excuse me. I don't know why my voice is cracking so much. Second puberty or something maybe, I don't know. Um oh, also, I don't know. See, I can't even remember what I said at the very beginning of this. Um if I already said this, I'm so sorry, but I don't think I did. I forgot to give a little update on the whole teeth situation. So after I got the root canal, um so I gotten 2 root canals total now. Um I don't need anything else more except fillings and then my wisdom tooth taken out before I can get the braces on. Unfortunately, my original dentist can't get me in until June. So, um, and the problem with that is I am moving to probably Seattle. I keep saying Washington because I don't know what part of Washington I'm going to end up in right now, but it's really looking like directly in Seattle currently. I'm going to be moving to Seattle this year. Um the latest is spring, so like March, maybe April, probably end of March is my deadline. Um so yeah, the plan was to kind of have um you know the braces on before I even moved. That was the whole plan in the first place. But then all this tooth shit started happening and I need this, I need this, I need this before I can get the braces on. So annoying. And so I called the other dentist this morning actually. Um the other one that did the other root canal, the first root canal, and I called them and I kind of like I told them like, "Hey, like uh I know you guys recommended I go to my original dentist cuz it would be cheaper, but they can't get me in until June. So I was wondering, like, do you guys have any availability? How much it would be through you? And will you do it?" And no, it turns out that they're gonna do it for me. It's gonna cost me a little over $100 each visit, but I mean that's doable. And my first appointment with them will be the 20th of this month, so January 20th. So that's great. Second one being February 17th, also great. This is all before spring. Love it. Um, and by then, I think the last thing would be to get the wisdom tooth out. That shouldn't take long at all, honestly. So I'm having a bit more confidence now, that I will get all this dental work done before spring and I can get the braces on before I move. I have hope. I think it could happen because yeah, I'm not staying here any longer. I need to get the fuck out of this town right now. I'm already giving myself grace, by waiting until at least spring. But that's also cuz weather. I know I've mentioned that before. I don't want to be moving 6 hours away in the middle of winter. That's so stupid and dangerous. So, that's why I say spring because it's the earliest time where the weather is, better. Um, no later than that though, because I will go insane. I already have a good chunk saved up. My goal is to have at least 10,000 saved up for when I move. I'm currently at 6,000. I just need 4,000 more, but I'm also very confident that I can get that by March at least. Especially, you know, with however tax refunds turn out this year, if it ends up being a good chunk, guess what? That helps too. That goes straight into my savings. And then boom, I'm even closer. So, praying for a good tax refund this year and praying for 4,000 more dollars by March so that I can move to Seattle with 10K. And I feel like that's a really good amount to move with because I'm obviously going to have to find a place, but also I'm gonna need to buy new tags, buy new license plate. I'm switching states, so I gotta do everything you need to do in terms of living in a new state. So all that car stuff I'm gonna have to do. Get a new license and you know, um along jeez. Oh my god. Pretend you didn't hear that. Along with affording a place, paying the security deposit, first and last month's rent probably, and blah blah blah. So I feel like 10K is like a good, comfortable amount to move to a big city like Seattle to. Um, as long as I budget very well, which I'm really good at budgeting anyway, so it's fine. I think I'll be fine. But yeah, so I'm hoping that this year is goes a lot better for me. I definitely will not be dating. I definitely won't be speaking to any men. If anything, I will be bullying them way more. Um, which also, one last thing that reminds me, I got my first hater, and can you guess the gender? I got my first hater on YouTube, and if you didn't know, obviously I post these episodes on Spotify, but I also post them on YouTube. I did end up making a YouTube channel for them too. And so every time I upload on Spotify, I also immediately upload on YouTube. So I don't ever check it though. I only go on the YouTube just to post and then that's it. Um so the last time that I had posted an episode on YouTube, I saw that I had some notifications and I was like, "Huh, weird. People watch this thing?" Um and I'm looking at it and like this guy had commented on one of the episodes and it was just a bunch of you need this, you need to do this, you need to get this, you need to do this, you need to do that, blah blah blah. Just and I'm gonna sound like a real bitch here, but the last thing that I want to hear is a man telling me what I need to fucking do. First of all, don't even go there. Second of all, if you're trying to give me advice, but you're approaching it like you need. That is not how you approach a situation like that. If you're going to give me advice, then recommend things. But don't, you need to do this, you need that, you need this. That's not how you handle. No. That's going to come off the way it came off to me and, probably will to other people if they read it. Um so I'm going back and forth with this guy because, well, at first, my first reply back to him, I'm like, hey, like, I appreciate what you're saying, but like the way that you're approaching it is a little, huh? And I don't know if he really genuinely watched the entire episode, because had he did, he would understand that this is not a safe space for men. Um I I think I've made it pretty clear that I am not a fan of men. I am I hate men. Okay? I don't, the phrase that pisses off every man. Well, there you go. I hate men. And I've already said that before. This podcast is in no way going to support men. So the fact that you're going back and forth with me over an episode that you watched and listened to give me advice on a man hating podcast, what do you mean? And I honestly hope that that same guy watches this episode, because hey, like I said in the comments though, like I think it's pretty obvious that this is not for you. Um but again, my whole point was you're approaching that completely wrong. You don't tell women what they need to do. If you want to give advice, I don't, maybe say it differently, like, "Oh, do you have this? Do you have this? Maybe you should look into this." Not, "You need this, you need to do that, you need this in order for you to be successful." First of all, also, the other point that I made is I'm not making this podcast to become famous or to get views or to get engagement or whatever. This was solely like, I haven't even promoted it yet. I haven't promoted anything yet, because I wanted to have everything out first before I promote it, because I don't know, it just makes me feel better. And so the fact that he thinks that, like, if I do everything he tells me to do, I'm going to get more engagement and more views and my podcast will blow up or whatever, but that's literally not the point. I could care less if this podcast blows up or gets me views or engagement or whatever. I mean, clearly it already is, but like, that's not, that was never the intention of this. Was just for me to be able to speak on things that I've never been able to speak out loud about before. To get closure with myself, to just be able to yap, because I have so much lore and things to talk about. And, it's something that's supposed to make me feel better. And, if people do end up listening or watching and they relate, mainly women, of course, then it would feel nice that other people can relate and we can, talk together about it and relate to each other. Like, that's, I hope I made that super clear in like my very first episode, because I mean, I feel like I did. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not pressed about it. I just think it's so like hilarious that, like, you defend yourself, and then and men are always so quick to say that we're the emotional ones, but when you like speak back to them or defend yourself, then they get super emotional, and come at you with the whole like, "Oh, I bet you say I hate men all the time and you're a feminist and blah blah blah." I'm like, well, yes. Okay, what does that have to, you're gonna flame, I'm no 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 no. If you're gonna give me advice that I never asked for, I'm gonna give you that same energy back. Like, what did you expect? To just for me to be like, "Oh, you're so right. Thank you. I love men. I love you for that." No. Get out of here. This ain't for you. And like I said, over and over, had you approached that completely differently instead of just going straight to, "You need this, you need to do that, you need this in order to," you would have never gotten that like response from me. But no, it's okay if you're mad that I just clocked your tea. Like, it's fine. It's okay, but hopefully, you now know that this is not the place for you. Okay? Anyways, yeah, I just had to share that real fast that uh that happened. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, before this episode is 3 hours long, um yeah, I'm going to talk about the very last part of this Mothering a Grown Man series, and then I can finally get into my most recent last relationship, which is a lot. It's going to be a lot to unpack, and I fear it's going to take a long time. But it needs to happen, especially since it's so current, and I'm still struggling from it. I'm still trying to heal, and I'm still going through it. So, yeah, I don't know, but if you've made it this far, as per usual, thank you. Thank you so much for listening. You don't have to, but I appreciate it. And yeah, I don't want to bore anyone or extend this any more than it already is. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will absolutely be recording next week for sure, and we're gonna finish this up and start the new one. It's gonna be even more crazier because there's so much to it. So yeah. So anyway, I love you guys. Bye bye.